Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Maximilian College Basketball Picks and Analysis for Monday, January 5th. I'm your host, Max Hofmeyer, and I've got three games that I will be going over for today. But first, of course, as always, we got to recap. Last episode was a good one, a 3-2 day, which actually puts us at a nice little run, 8-2 over the last couple shows. So, like to see that. Hopefully, continue that. And we were expected to have a 3-2 day as well, based on the quality of shots taken in those games too. So, like to see that correlation between actual and expected. So, we will take that 3-2, and we will move on to today, where we're looking at the first of our three plays, and it is Ohio State here, who is hosting undefeated Nebraska ball and is actually favored, laying 2.5 points here. Nebraska was a team we actually faded on the last episode or 2 episodes ago on a Friday versus Michigan State, where we ended up getting a push on that one, but Michigan State really just shot themselves in the foot all game, 19 turnovers, and was, lucky to be in that game, honestly, with 19 turnovers. But uh, you know, Ohio State, much better team at taking care of the ball, so I wouldn't expect something like that in this one. And like I've talked about on that Friday episode as well, this Nebraska team's good, but not quite undefeated good. We have not expected them to be 14-0. We've expected a couple losses here, so I do think this is a good spot to take Ohio State, and hopefully Nebraska gets their first loss in this one. It's going to come down to who can make their threes, because Nebraska, they're shooting 3-pointers at a 50% rate, and that's 14th in the nation in frequency. But they're also allowing 52% of opponent shots from deep, which is 360th, and that's why they've been kind of overrated. Is because despite giving up so many threes, their opponents are only shooting 30% from deep, which is 45th in 3-point defense. And, it's a combination of good Nebraska defense, but, some unlucky shooting too. Like good 3-point shooting teams like Creighton only shot 24% on 33 attempts in that game that they won. And Wisconsin, 22% on 32 attempts from deep. So they have had some good fortune this year, but I'm going to go ahead and bet on Ohio State to have a good 3-point shooting night. Between their trio of Thornton, Mobley, and Devin Royal, all those guys shoot above 37% from deep, and they are at home in this one. So let's go ahead and take Ohio State to dish Nebraska first loss of the year and hopefully get it by more than 3 in a cover. Next up, another Big Ten game, as the Ducks of Oregon are making the cross-country trip to Piscataway, and Rutgers is +6 in this one at home. Oregon is off a win versus Maryland, but they were a little lucky in that one. Maryland was they were +4 in turnover differential and +9 in offensive rebound. So they dominated the possession battle, getting more shots. But thanks to 37% shooting from the 2-pointer and 20% from deep, it just did not matter how many possessions they had. They couldn't make anything. So that's why we kind of expected Maryland to win that one. Oregon's making the trip from Maryland to Rutgers here, and this will be the second leg of their East Coast trip before they head back home. And Oregon was also without Jackson Shelstad in that last game, which is a little concerning if he's not able to go today, because he is a high-usage guard, and his offense runs through him and then Nate Biddle, their big. And this spot can be a little tricky here, that second leg of the cross-country road trip. On Friday's episode, I kind of talked about that and how we took Stanford to beat Louisville. We took Stanford +8.5 against Louisville, and they actually ended up winning that one outright, kind of threw them off. Stanford's obviously much better than Rutgers. Rutgers is 0-3 in Big Ten play. And, I do believe that Penn State will battle it out for last in the Big Ten, but their 3 Big Ten games that they have played have been brutal. Purdue, Michigan, and Ohio State, those are all very good teams. And I think this is a game that Rutgers can slow it down, maybe muck it up, and potentially pick off an Oregon team. So between the tough spot and everything, I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon +6 and the home dog for our second play. And for the final play, we are heading to the SWAC as Grambling State is hosting Texas Southern and laying 6.5 here at home. Last episode, I talked about Morehead State on Saturday, how that line was just a little disrespectful for them to be plus 5.5 for a team that, ran a gauntlet non-con schedule and, maybe a little underrated. You can kind of ignore, what they've done because of the brutal competition they've played. That was a team coming into the year that I thought had a chance to win the OVC, and they ended up winning that game outright. So this angle is a little similar. Texas Southern, they always run a difficult non-schedule, and Johnny Jones has been there since 2019, and their non-con schedules have ranked first, second, 27th, 11th, 5th, 8th, 10th, and then this year 12th. So they just run an absolute gauntlet, and because of that, they are 0-10 versus D1 competition. And in those years, despite the difficult non-con, it does help them, get ready for SWAC play. They're second, third, second, 8th, 4th, and 4th. So the fact that they are 0-10 is, something I kind of just throw out. Does not hold a lot of weight. And this is a Texas Southern team that returned some minutes. They were 95th in continuity. So Grambling, on the other hand, only returned 2% of their minutes, which is one of the fewest in the country. And their head coach took the Alabama A&M job. So I'm going to go ahead and trust, historical top tier SWAC team Texas Southern here and take the plus 6.5. This is one I think they can win, but if it is close, we got the 6.5 here for our final play. And that will do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe, support the channel, and you don't want to miss any future episodes. So thanks for watching, and best of luck